the objective of the summit is.
All right, and on that note, we want to switch gears now and have a conversation just around raising capital. Particularly, this is something that we continue to see every day. And now in studio, I'm joined by Kennedy. That is Kennedy Nyabwa. Let me just get that right. Kennedy Nyabwala, who is the CEO of Elevate HR. And we understand that currently they're looking to raise about 40 million Kenya shillings to support some of the ventures that are currently being operated by Kenyans. Kennedy, welcome to the program.
Asante sana. Thank you very much.
All right, so the first thing that I want you to help us understand, you're seeking to raise about 40 million shillings. How do you intend to go about this?
Okay, so before I go into that, I would want to give a brief background about Elevate HR Africa. So we are a tech platform that is basically helping HRs and people within the labor industry to manage employee performance, issue payroll, and also salary advance. So we have various modules that we are offering, and this is because the young population is growing year on year, and 90% of this population is actually employed by the Kenyan SMEs. Yeah. So the unfortunate thing is that 50% of these SMEs do not have the right tools or the right technology to manage this workforce. And that is the reason why we are building Elevate HR Africa. Over the years, we've gotten traction, good traction so far. And the funds that we are raising right now is for propelling us to the next level of growth, but also just to make it clear, we are raising locally. So initially, all these startups have been raising funds from foreign investors, but we decided to grow with the people. That is why we are called the People Company.
All right, so, and of course, back to my question is, how do you intend on raising these 40 million shillings? You talked about raising it locally, but the question is how?
The reason why we are raising locally, or how we want to raise locally, is to give people an opportunity to own part of the company and to grow with us. So what we are doing deliberately is that we have a community of HR professionals on our platform, whom we've already given the opportunity to invest. And the traction there so far is great. We had an event on Friday where we showcased our traction and advantages and the return on investment. And what we are doing is now making one-on-one calls or visits and telling people the story of Elevate HR Africa and why they need to invest. And so far, we've seen that process working much better as opposed to maybe having an event or things like that.
All right, so Kenny, I want you to help us understand the current investor landscape, particularly when you talk about the domestic investors. Where do you see a lot of their interest, or where do you see a lot of them investing?
Traditionally, basically, what we are used to is we invest in things that we can see. For example, in Kenya, people invest in land, in the transport industry, but that is changing. If you look at the last 10 years or so, various startups have come up and have taken off. And they've grown by over 1,000%. Some have grown by over 1,000%, some have grown by over 2,000% in terms of growth. So that automatically tells you where the interest is. The interest right now is in ICT and SaaS-enabled platforms that have low burn and that have a strong team. And I think that the things are shifting from traditional investments where it was real estate or logistics to a SaaS-enabled tech investment.
All right. So I've seen that over the last 10 years, you have been receiving a lot of funds. Maybe you can take us through some of the investment criteria and what you look for before investing in a particular company.
Yeah, so before you invest in a particular company, the most important thing is the team, because it's a long journey. Investment is like a baby. You take them through an entire journey, and the most important thing is the team. The second thing is product market fit. Yeah. So are you solving a problem that is existing? And already, if you have a problem that is existing, the next thing is what solution are you offering? So the product itself is another element that is very key. So if you have those three things combined, because what will happen over time is that things change over time, because it's a long journey. And what happens with startups, there's what we call a pivot. You might be solving a problem, but you have competition or the market might change. So you need a strong team, you need a product market fit, and you need a product that actually offers the solution to the problem that you're offering. If you have those three things right, then you can almost do anything that or you can always almost overcome any challenge.
So when you look at your portfolio of investments, and particularly on some of these startups, are there specific sectors that you're keen to invest in?
At Elevated Char, basically, we are not yet investing in other startups. But with my experience in terms of investment, my interest right now is basically software companies or startups that have stronger teams and early stage product market fit kind of traction. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure for a lot of these businesses that you're looking to invest in, one of the questions that they will be seeking to answer is what is the value proposition that, apart from the investment, that they are getting out of this investor?
The value proposition, that's why we are actually taking money from local investors. At Elevated Char, we believe that if somebody comes as a local investor, they are not just coming with money, but they're also coming with a network. They can be a client. So we are winning both ways from a point of not only taking your money, but also we are actually getting traction from you being a client, or you can refer us to somebody who can use our platform.
All right, let's talk about the ticket size, particularly.
Yes.
Out of the 40 million, what would be your average ticket size?
Currently, our average ticket size is 200K. The maximum we are looking at is around 5 million. And so far, we've gotten very good traction. We are at 20% of that. And we believe that by end of next week, we'll be at around 50%. And before end of the year, we'll be at 100%. So with that, we believe that we are getting validation that whatever we are building is going to change Kenya and also Africa in general.
And I'm sure from where you sit as an investor, one of the things that you're looking at is return on investment. Yeah. How has that been when you look at the last 5 years, for instance?
Okay, so typically return on investments are normally like 5x. So if you invest, like let's say 200K, you are going to get about 1 million shillings. That is in 4 years max. Like I said, the fundamentals are always the same. It's about the right team, product market fit, and also the product or the solution you're offering in the market. Yeah. If those three things combine, you can get a return of up to 10x. But the average returns are always 5x.
All right, so for argument's sake, you invest this 200,000 or 1 million shillings into a certain company. Of course, is it a grant, is it a loan, or what is the repayment strategy?
It's a loan. It's what we call a convertible note. So the way convertible notes work, and I think this is a very complex word, but in a layman's language, it's basically you're giving us debt, and after 2 years, if we do not hit certain milestones, you get your money back. That's why it's called a convertible note, because it has a safety net for the investor. If we do not hit certain milestones, then you get your money back. If we hit those milestones, then it converts to a share. So from a share perspective, the way you make money as an investor is at the point of liquidation, which basically means that we've found another investor or we've raised another big round.
All right, and I'm sure even for the companies that you invest in, are there any value additions that you're bringing on the table apart from just the financial aspect of it? Yeah.
So the investors that have put money at Elevated Char, some are consultants, some have a background in investments. So they're actually also helping us build a proper financial model. Like I'd said also, over time businesses change. And when they change, you realize that there are certain things that needs to be adjusted. So as an investor who's coming in terms of a value add, what they'll actually tell us is they'll give us red alerts and say where you're going, we are seeing it not so there will be a turbulence in the next 2 or 3 years. So you need to do this now, or you need to start restructuring right now, so that when that turbulence comes in, you have shock absorbers to actually take you through.
All right, and of course, investment is a risky venture. So one of the things that I would want to know is how then do you assess the risk associated with this investment that then helps you determine how much you're going to issue in terms of the ticket size?
Yeah, so risks are always associated with founders, unfortunately. It's very easy to call out certain things that you see are not going to work out. Number one is, when you are doing your risk assessment, you look at various things, or you do a background check on these particular founders. Statistics has it that most of these startups actually fail because they were. There is also, apart from the product market fit, there is founder market fit.
Yeah.
And what that means is that you might have the right founder, but for the wrong opportunity or for the wrong job. So you have to validate that this founder that is coming in, does he really understand the way startups work? What is his background? What is his challenges? Has he run successful startups before?
Yeah.
So those are the risk assessments that you put together so that you can now come up with what we call a risk assessment score out of 10. So when it is beyond 7, that's a good risk to take based on various variables or metrics. When it is below 6, it is a very risky venture, and very few startups have been scaled with founders that have a score of below 6.
All right, Kenny, before we wrap up this conversation, one thing that, of course, I would want you to help me understand is why should I come to you and not go to a, let's say, a venture capitalist?
Yeah, so the reason why you need to invest at Elevated Char is because, number one, we are at the right market. So in terms of just looking at the numbers, there are over 400 million plus Africans, and 18 million Kenyans are actually working for the Kenyan SMEs. Yeah. So the market is huge. This gives you a very big opportunity to run a HR tech platform because every single person needs to be paid. You guys in this room, everybody always gets paid. So you're already a potential customer. And what we've done is that we've gone across various tiers. So you have tier 1, which are always the corporates. Tier 2s are high-level SMEs, and then the tier 3s are the normal kawaida shops, zamtani, or sorts of things like that. Yeah. And we are going for the tier 2 and the tier 3. And this is where we see ourselves as a very strong attraction to that size of the market. And it's big, it's not as complicated, and that's why we are going to succeed. What we've done in terms of our model, we've seen that if we invest with us today, you'll get a minimum of 4x in 4 years.
Kennedy Nyabwala, thank you so much for making time to come and speak to us on this. And of course, this is a project that we'll be looking forward to see how many startups actually benefit. And on that note, we want to take a quick commercial break on Business Today. When we come back, we'll be having a conversation around running a company and particularly running a franchise. Stay with us.